Okay, so let's take a look at how you can install Gatsby JS on Windows. So what we're going to do is, first thing we need to check whether we have Node.js or not. Currently I have uninstalled my existing setup and I'm downloading this to show you that you need to install Node.js, or you can also add one more optional package manager, which is Yarn. Okay, so we are going with both options. Here simply click on this setup option for Windows. You can find other options here in other downloads link. Okay, now I'm also going to download the Yarn installer. Okay, you can also use Choco for Windows. Okay, so I have downloaded this stable 1.22.4. okay, now after that I will just go to the installers. Okay, now double click on the installers. Okay, now as you can see, it started the wizard. Click on next, click on I accept the terms, then choose drive which doesn't require your Windows permissions. Okay, so here we can choose bigger directory like this, or you can customize by removing program files and simply keeping Node.js. That also works. Click on next. Okay, you can continue to keep the defaults. Okay, then you can simply click next. Okay, it is asking you to choose Python and Visual Studio build tools. It needs to be installed for some modules. You can choose to automatically install necessary tools, or you can ignore that. Okay, so click next, click install. Okay, so next option is to click on finish. Okay, now let's check whether it is installed in system path. Simply type in node /version. Okay, if it returns this version, that means node is installed. Next we will run yarn setup. Okay, and it should run pretty quickly. Simply change the directories. Okay, now you can see it is installed. Simply close your existing command prompt and reopen it again, and type in yarn /version. If it returns with version number, that means yarn is also installed. Okay, as you can see, it returns with version number, that means it is installed. What I'm going to do is, instead of npm, I'm going to use yarn -cli. So I'm typing Gatsby -cli and then select the option from result, and here you can see we can copy the command yarn add Gatsby CLI. Okay, so let's open command prompt. Let me clear this, and here you can simply paste this. If you want Gatsby CLI on global, you can add that yarn global add Gatsby CLI. Hit enter. That should start the installation for Gatsby CLI. Okay, once the installation is finished, you will see something like this. Okay, so to test that, what we can do is open another command prompt, and here let me clean this and simply type in Gatsby then /help. If you see help related information from Gatsby, then that means it is installed on your Windows. As you can see, it shows you this message on Gatsby telemetry, which you can disable. Okay, as you can see, Gatsby commands and options are listed. That means Gatsby is installed on my system. Okay, so let's take a look at how you can create a new site using Gatsby. So first thing that we are going to do is make sure that we have Node.js installed. Simply type in node, then space / version. Okay, so if you have a node on your system, then you are good to go. Okay, now next thing, we are going to install Gatsby CLI. So for that, we are going to type in npm space, then install, then -g, then that would be Gatsby -CLI. Okay, this will be global install of Gatsby CLI. You can also use yarn global add Gatsby -CLI. Okay, that should achieve the same result. Now when you want to create a new website with Gatsby CLI, you type in Gatsby, then new, and let's say if I want to type in blocks. Okay, so I will use Gatsby space new space then blocks. Okay, when I hit enter, it should take its time to download all the files, and then it should allow you to run further codes. Okay, considering I already run this command, I can just simply go to blocks. Okay, now once we are in that directory, what we can do is, if you're running this first time, you can simply type in Gatsby develop, and it will give you one default starter website with Gatsby. Okay, now after that, when you make changes or when you make edits to those files, you can simply run Gatsby build. Okay, and let it complete those updates. Okay, and then you can simply type in Gatsby serve. Okay, now when you hit Gatsby serve, it will go through the build process, check all the finished items, and then it will process your Gatsby website on localhost 9000. Now here you can see, you get the message something like this that says you can now view Gatsby starter default in the browser. Then it gives you this URL localhost 9000. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll open new tab and then check this out, localhost then 9000. Okay, and you get starter website that looks something like this. If you see website that looks like this, then you can say you installed your new website using Gatsby. Now here you can test it out by clicking on page 2. Okay, it should take you here, then go back to home page, and there is also one more page. Go to TypeScript. Okay, and it will show you how to use Gatsby if you wish to use TypeScript. Okay, so you can edit those pages, and then what you can do is you can type in Gatsby build and then go for Gatsby serve again, so that it will update with those changes and show you new update live. So you get the idea how to use Gatsby CLI to create a new site in Gatsby. Okay, so we will take a look at how we can edit the Gatsby default page content and how to make changes to that, and then we can see how to get it live. So if you haven't already installed Gatsby on your system, then make sure that you install it. And currently, as you can see, I am moving to a directory where I have already installed Gatsby. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to install Gatsby CLI, simply type in npm space install -g, then Gatsby -CLI. Okay, you can also use yarn global add and then Gatsby -CLI. Now when you want to create a new site with Gatsby, what you can do is simply type in Gatsby new, and let's say our website name has blogs, so you can type in blogs. Okay, then after installation of those files, you can cd to that directory. Right now here, when you first run it, you type in Gatsby develop. That should run a minimal Gatsby setup. Now when you want to edit a particular file in Gatsby, what you do is you open text editors such as Sublime Text or Visual Studio Code. Okay, and make sure to go to that particular folder and add it in your projects. That should look something like this. Now in particular directory, we go to source folder and choose index.js. If you check here, you can see the default content of your website is here. So let's say if I want to change the name, so what I will do is I will simply make edits here. Right, so first thing, let's say if I want to change the name to, let's say welcome to and I'm going to type in edit the content, save it. Now you can also check out the title, which you can also check in here. Okay, which says home. There is h1 tag hi people, which you can change as well. So you can change this to something like this. Right, now what we're going to do is we are going to see whether our changes goes live or not. So we open command prompt and we simply type in Gatsby build. Because we just made changes, we have to build. Okay, once the build is finished, we can go with Gatsby serve. Now when you build, you will get a message that says something like this. Okay, at the end it should show you done building in specific number of seconds, and there here is related to updating Gatsby CLI. So I will take a look at that later. Okay, now when we want to run Gatsby serve, I will simply type in Gatsby serve. Okay, and that should start our local development server. Now here you can see it is showing me URL to access localhost 9000. So I will go to browser and here let's type in localhost 9000 and it should update with our changes here. As you can see, these are the two changes I made, along with this the third one. So you get the idea how to edit your default Gatsby website. Okay, so now let's take a look at how you can add new page to Gatsby. So first thing is going to your folder, and here you see source folder that contains pages. Okay, default you have index and 404 page. Okay, and now we will open VS Code and add one more JS file within this particular folder. So new file, let's say about.js. Okay, now here what we will do is we will import React from React. Next thing, we will call for constant, let's say about equals to. Now within this we will have to return some values. right? Now here let's add a div, right? And within that we'll add h1 tag that says about, and in next line we will also add, let's see, within paragraph, right? Now we will save this and we will test this how it works. Okay, before that, one more thing to do is we have to also export default and write about, right, so that it gets properly called without throwing an error. Now let's open our Windows PowerShell and go to the directory where you have your Gatsby site and type in Gatsby develop. You can also make changes to the files while you are running the Gatsby, but I have stopped the previous instance, so I had to go through that again. Okay, now we can open it in localhost 8000, and here you see by default it shows hello world, and if we do about, it should take us to about page. Similarly, I can add one more page by going through the same steps. New file, let's say contact.js. Let's say if I copy all of this into new page by changing a few things. Obviously we have to make sure to call it contact, right? And you can even add a form below this paragraph if you want and call it on this particular contact page. So let's see if that works. And here you see we have our two pages added. So basically now we have home page, about, and contacts. So next thing we will do is we will create a header that should contain links to these three pages. Layout components in Gatsby. So first thing, go to source, then create a new folder, components. Now inside this folder, what we can do is we create two files. Let's name one layout.js, okay, which will contain layout for entire site. Then similarly, one more component which is, let's say, header. You can also add one more which could be footer or some sidebar, etc. So in case of layout, what we can do is so type in import react from react, and then next thing would be to import header, which we already created in a file. So import header from dot header, and then we'll have to put in constant for layout, right? So props equals to, now let's add in the return where we have div, and then we have, let's say, header, and then finally if there are any props, children, right? Save this. Now what we'll do is we'll write in the header, so import react from react, and then next would be to import, let's say I want to link to the pages like this, about, contact, index. So we'll make use of link, and that should be from Gatsby. Right? Save this. Next thing would be to create your header, right? And and inside that what we'll do is we will return, let's say, header, right? And within that we will also have a separate navigation. So let's say we have a bunch of links, right? Now here what we can do is we add link to, right? And we use slash for home, right? And here we will just add home. Similarly, we'll copy this and add two more, where one we have about, and we have to replace this with about. Similarly for contact, that's another page, right? So pretty much everything is covered. Now finally we'll have to export default header. Actually it should be header, right? Now let me, right now one more thing is to import the layout. Okay, so here we'll have to import the layout. So import layout from components slash layout, right? Also we'll have to wrap this up within our layout, right? And put it in here. Okay, we'll test this out whether it works or not. Now let's use npm start new, or okay, few things to correct here are, so the layout should be uppercase here, L. Okay, similarly it should be reflected here within your tags as well. Next thing, let's take a look at localhost 8000. Okay, and when you check the reloaded page, you'll find that you have index page that renders your header. Clicking on about should take you to about. Similarly, it should take you to contact. Now you have to repeat this for all the pages. Okay, now let's go to about and put our layout here. Similarly, we have to add our layout to before and after the content, right? Okay, so let's get rid of this one. Similarly for contact, we have to repeat the same. Okay, so we need to also copy it from our index, right? So at the top we have to define that, right? Hopefully there are no errors this time. So let's reload it again, and if we go to contact, you will find contact page, similarly about and home. Okay, so we managed to create the header component. Similarly, we can create sidebar and footer components as well. Okay, so let's add footer to the layout. So go to components and create new file. Name this footer.js, right? Within this file, we will have to import React from React. Okay. next thing would be we have to create our footer, and for that we will have to return, let's say, footer, and within that we'll have to add a code, something like, let's say, copyright, right? And within copyright, what we can do is we can simply add new date, right? Then we can get full year, right? And then convert that into toString, dot toString, right? And once that method is closed, what we can do is make sure to close this and also return with quotes, right? Okay, then we'll have to export default footer. Now we'll have to call this within layout. So let's say after prompts children we go for footer. Actually, we just have to close this tag, right? Now we'll have to also import footer from dot footer, right? Then we can check if it's working, right? Okay, so at the bottom you can see the current year. You can also add additional message. Before that, we'll take a look at if it works on all pages. So it's working for now. Okay, so let's edit a few things, something like, let's say, right, something like this. Now let's reload the page, and you have this on each page as footer, right? Let's shut it down. Okay, now as you can see, it immediately updates here without having to reload. Okay, so we learned how to create the component, both header and footer, for Gatsby. So next thing would be to take a look at style sheet. So in order to fetch the style sheet, we have to create a new directory. So let's name this directory styles. After that, within that directory, we will create a file named style.css. Okay, and here we may not want to use font family. Let's say sans serif. You can go with any other of your choice. Go with this and modify a few other parameters if you want. You can even have, let's say, something like color for this. Let's go with a bit brown and see if that works. Similarly, we can also edit parameters like h1, h2, h3, right? And for that we make use of, let's see, font weight, and put this to 600, right? And within index you can see we have one h1, same with here about and contact, right? So coming back to styles, we have body h1 and we also have links. So for links, let's see, we choose color something like crimson, right? And let's go with text decoration to none, right? Because I don't want any underlines, so that is one thing we can do. Now we have to use this style sheet within layout. So let's go to layout, and here we use import. Type in import then dot styles and style dot css. Right, now what we can do is we will see that our layout is being imported in all the pages and respective components. So let's take a look at that. And here see our style is copied. We have brown color and link is changed to this particular crimson color, right? So we managed to add style to our Gatsby. Okay, so let's take a look at how you can add or embed image in Gatsby site. So what we have here is one image that I can put into Gatsby asset folder. So let's go to source, create new folder, name it assets. Now within that folder we will have to put our file, right? So within assets we have this particular logo file. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll go to our index page. Now what we have to do here is import logo from and then double dot assets slash logo, and that should be the JPG. Right, now underneath this particular header tag can add one paragraph. This is Gatsby right, and below that one more paragraph, and within that paragraph I'm going to add image URL. So image src, right, equals to, and within this curly bracket we'll have to point our logo, right? So alt should be right. So here we type in logo. You can name it anything else you want, right? So let's see if that works, right? And here you see our image is now fetched from the assets folder. Okay, so we have mostly done the basics. You can get more in depth with CSS images and beautify the site, but however these are the bare bones that you can do with style and images.